Good morning, everybody. Let's talk some Torah. So beautiful to share all this with you. It is very, very dramatic to be able to share Torah on the fourth day of Hanukkah when, Erev fourth day, last night, to see the Jewish president of Ukraine stand with the president of the United States at a press conference and acknowledge Hanukkah as a battle of the few against the many, and somehow the few prevail. It is incredibly powerful that the President of the United States framed this press conference in Jewish framing, as Natalie points out. And Hanukkah itself represents such a small portion of the American population's religious identity and experience, and yet in this moment, for all of its political complexity, to see the power of Judaism to offer a framework for a modern moment, and to have a Jewish human being leading a nation that stands out as a model of heroism and resistance. There's nothing I can say that can match the nobility and the power of what President Vladimir Zelensky spoke about yesterday, and what he has modeled throughout. His language about the American support of Ukraine not being charity but being an investment really does speak to what it is to wield and leverage power for the sake of a community. So in his honor, in honor of the people of Ukraine, let's talk some Torah. One of the things that obviously plays into this is notions of power, and as the Torah describes power, it is so wrapped up in war, in the dynamics of who's in charge. Power doesn't need to be that. There's also power that is restraint. There's an interesting moment in this week's Parsha that I wanted to point to. It's Parshat MIKETZ, where Yosef, who's now second in command in Egypt, re-encounters his brothers for the first time. And there's a moment where he sees Benjamin. Now, they're all siblings, but Benjamin is the child of Joseph's biological mother. It's a complicated family structure, but Rachel was the biological mother to Yosef and Binyamin, died actually giving birth to Binyamin. And when Yosef sees Binyamin, something in him changes, something in him happens. And the text says, this is chapter 43, verse 30, Vayvakesh livkot, he wanted to cry. That's a different model of a powerful leader's inner life. An emotional revealing, in fact. And I want to refer specifically to something that my teacher, my friend, Chancellor Shuli Rubin Schwartz of the Jewish Theological Seminary wrote some time ago as a comment on this week's Parsha. She points to the desire to cry. He doesn't cry yet. He'll cry next week when he finally does reveal himself. But he does cry. And this moment is the beginning of that. The vulnerability of a leader, the vulnerability of a male leader, the willingness to cry. It's not the free to be you and me beautiful line, it's all right to cry. Crying gets the sad out of you. Might help you feel better. That's actually not what this crying is yet. This is the beginning on the inside of what tears do. And what Chancellor Schwartz does in her teaching is she points to how waves of feminism and feminist thought have transformed the way we consider vulnerability both for women and for men, and those on the gender spectrum in between. And what I want to share is something that she shares. When President Kennedy was assassinated, there was a moment on TV where Walter Cronkite, the most trusted and respected person in news, cried. This is what Chancellor Schwartz writes about that. I'm just going to read 3 small paragraphs that she wrote about this week's Parsha relating to Joseph's tears and Walter Cronkite's tears. And what I would suggest for us is that there are models of vulnerability that actually don't decrease the power that a human being wields in the world. It increases their presence. It means that they are resonant. And I'm talking both about these historic and mythic figures, and also about you and me. What it is to demonstrate both strength and vulnerability. And I encourage you to watch President Zelensky's comments yesterday when he spoke to Congress. There was power, there was strength, there was nobility, and there was deep humanity. Maybe not tears, maybe that's not his personality. But on the inside, there was clear vulnerability happening. This is what Chancellor Schwartz says. Joseph's tears are a necessary element in his transition to adulthood and to true leadership. Only when he has found a way to reconcile his childhood grief with the possibility of a new relationship with his brothers, his public persona with his private life, and his invincible power with his vulnerability, only then does he emerge as the biblical hero that fully ignites the empathy and admiration. Many Americans remember Walter Cronkite, the premier newscaster of the day, breaking down in tears as he announced the death of President Kennedy. In the wake of the assassination, polls identified Cronkite as the most trusted man in America. His public power was enhanced by his vulnerability and emotionalism. By themselves, says Chancellor Schwartz, tears can be bitter. As a prelude to empathy, tears can be bittersweet. As a harbinger of better days to come, our tears can even be fully sweet. I bless us, friends, in this fourth day of Hanukkah, during Parshat MIKETZ, in this pivotal moment of human history, and also this very personal moment that each one of us is going through, a journey that has taken us through years that are incomprehensible even for us. We've gone through it. We can't describe it. But what we can do is, hand on heart, acknowledge that there have been tears and probably will be some more. But that doesn't make us powerless. It helps us tap into our power. It purifies us to let them out. It is a gift of adulthood, in fact, to know that tears are honest and helpful and healthy when they come. Sometimes they can be truly bitter. Sometimes they can be bittersweet. And as Chancellor Schwartz does say, as a harbinger of better days to come, our tears can even be fully sweet. I would bless you with sweetness, friends, on this fourth day of Hanukkah. Sweetness, vulnerability, and sweetness. Here we go. Bless you, friends. See you tomorrow. Chag Sameach. Happy Hanukkah.